Her Mountain, Act 1, Chapter 6, Walking the Line. The church remained unusually quiet after Pastor Godwin Etim's warning about the marine kingdom and the covenants that followed certain bloodlines. Eno-Obong sat motionless on her seat. Around her, many members of the congregation shifted uneasily. Some stared at the altar, while others lowered their heads in thought. Pastor Godwin took a sip of water and returned to the pulpit. The children, he continued, are often the easiest targets. His voice carried across the auditorium. These spirits do not always come as frightening beings. Many times they come as friends. They entice children with gifts. Once those gifts are accepted, access is granted into the spirit of that child. A murmur swept through the congregation. The child may begin to see strange things in dreams. They may see themselves playing with unfamiliar children. They may see themselves swimming in rivers or oceans. They may see themselves eating food in dreams. Some may even see themselves attending gatherings that they do not understand. The pastor paused. Do not dismiss such dreams as ordinary dreams. The seriousness in his voice made many people sit upright. The reality of life begins in the spirit before it manifests in the physical. If you find yourself or your children repeatedly eating in dreams, swimming in dreams, or participating in strange activities in dreams, come for prayers. Bring your children too. Such matters should never be taken lightly. Eno-Obong listened carefully. The message seemed directed at everyone, yet somehow it felt personal. Pastor Godwin continued. There are also those who belong to secret societies and masquerade groups. The church became quieter. Groups such as Ekpe, Nabo, Uto Ekpe, Obio Okpo, and many others. Several people exchanged glances. Before members participate in many of these activities, rituals are often performed. Incantations are spoken. Libations are poured. Sacrifices are offered. Objects that appear ordinary become spiritually fortified. He pointed toward the congregation. Those who have participated in such practices understand the significance attached to certain leaves, sticks, knives, and symbols. These things are often treated as sacred because spiritual powers have been invoked upon them. The pastor's face hardened. That is why women, children, and even men who are not members usually keep their distance whenever these demonstrations take place. His words stirred memories in the minds of many listeners. Terrible consequences have followed some unfortunate victims of these practices. He leaned forward. You cannot blow hot and cold at the same time. The statement echoed through the hall. When you come to Christ, you must come completely. You cannot hold on to darkness with one hand and Christ with the other. The church remained silent. If not, the consequences may not stop with you alone. Problems can travel through generations. The Bible speaks of the effects of sin reaching even unto future generations. Eno-Obong felt a strange heaviness settle in her chest. Pastor Godwin then shifted to another subject. Our ancestors did many things they believed were acceptable. His voice softened. In some places, twins were killed. Slaves were buried alongside kings. Innocent people were offered as sacrifices. Others were buried alive to accompany rulers into the next world. The congregation listened in stunned silence. What many did not understand was that innocent blood does not simply disappear. The pastor opened his Bible. Just as Abel's blood cried unto God after Cain killed him, innocent blood still speaks. The atmosphere in the church grew solemn. The consequences of such actions often linger until they are confronted through Christ. Something stirred inside Eno-Obong. For the first time since arriving at the crusade, she made a decision. When the pastor eventually called people out for prayers, she would go. She did not fully understand everything he was saying, but she knew one thing: she needed help. Pastor Godwin then changed direction. Marriage. The word immediately captured the attention of many young people in the church. Different people experience marriage differently. A few people nodded. Some enjoy peace. Others experience endless battles. He looked around the congregation. Marriage is not merely the coming together of a man and a woman. It is the coming together of families, cultures, beliefs, histories, and sometimes problems. The church remained attentive. Many customs performed during traditional marriages carry spiritual implications that people do not fully understand, he continued. When libations are poured during marriage ceremonies, many people think it is merely culture, but what is happening spiritually? The pastor allowed the question to hang in the air. An invitation is being extended. Several heads turned. Jesus Christ should be the only one invited into a Christian marriage. The congregation responded with a quiet amen. He became the final sacrifice at Calvary. No other sacrifice is needed. Pastor Godwin then mentioned a practice common among some Ibibio families. Take Erom Adiaha, for example. Several older members nodded knowingly. There is nothing wrong with slaughtering a ram to celebrate a marriage feast. He raised a finger. But when that animal is demanded for ritual purposes or offered to spiritual powers, something entirely different is taking place. The church became quiet again. A covenant is being established. The pastor's voice was firm. And covenants have consequences. Eno-Obong listened carefully. Many people spend years asking, why is this happening to me? Why is my marriage like this? Why is there so much struggle? The pastor shook his head. The answer may be older than the question. A few people sighed. Covenants and curses have no meaning to someone living completely in sin, because such a person already belongs to darkness. But when someone comes to Christ, these things must be confronted and broken, so that the believer can walk in freedom. That statement remained with Eno-Obong. Suddenly, a memory surfaced. A face, a name. Ekpoawan, her former university coursemate. Eno-Obong's thoughts drifted back to her university days. Everyone knew Ekpoawan. It was impossible not to notice her. She was one of the most beautiful girls on campus. Her complexion was richly ebony dark and flawless. Her skin seemed untouched by the harsh African sun. She had bright eyes framed by long, beautiful eyelashes. Her pointed nose sat perfectly on her face, while her soft red lips complemented her radiant smile. Whenever she laughed, dimples appeared on both cheeks. Her white teeth sparkled brilliantly. She possessed a naturally curvy figure and graceful carriage that attracted attention wherever she went. Students often joked that God must have created her on a Monday morning after resting throughout the weekend. She seemed to have everything. Her father was a wealthy politician. Her mother owned one of the biggest boutiques and beauty businesses in Calabar. Ekpoawan lived a life most young women could only dream about. She moved from an air-conditioned home into air-conditioned cars. Money was never a problem. Beauty was never a problem. Attention was never a problem. To the world, Ekpoawan appeared to have the perfect life. But appearances could be deceiving. And as Eno-Obong remembered her friend's story, she realized that sometimes the most beautiful lives hide the deepest secrets. That's where we'll stop for today. You do not want to miss Chapter 7. Then we will continue the story of Ekpoawan. Subscribe so you are alerted when Chapter 7 is out. We are also interested in knowing if you can identify with the story in any way. What cultural activities are practiced where you come from, and what do you think about it? Please share with us. Also like and share so others can be part of the stories.